Hi, thanks for joining me again for this week's restorative yoga class. We're going to get started straight away, so grab a block or something that can be used as a block and place it on the tool length towards the front of your mat. Coming into the most active pose of today's class, downward dog, bring your forehead forward to rest onto the block very gently, turning a very active pose into more of a restorative movement. Keep your hips nice and high. And if your heels do lift off of the floor like mine do here, that's absolutely fine. You can pedal through the feet if you want to stretch out the tendons, the calves. You can move up and down on the balls of the feet, coming onto your tiptoes and then moving back down. Just be aware of your shoulders in this position. Sometimes when we're resting our forehead, we can dump a little bit into our upper shoulders, upper back. So make sure that even though your head is resting down, you're pulling your shoulders away from your ears and away from your neck. Today's class is going to be a very restorative / yin style class. So it's going to be very slow, long holds, but not very intense poses. So really try to surrender into this inversion. You can step your feet slightly forward if that feels good for your body, or just stay where you are, concentrating on your breathing, pushing strongly through your hands. Well done. On your next exhale, start to walk your feet slightly forward and your hands back to meet them. We're going to carry on with the slight inversions. So grab your second block or any props that you have and build a small tower at the front of your mat. We're going to use this as a platform for our head. So we're just aiming for some light pressure on the forehead, grabbing hold of opposite elbows and just letting yourself surrender down into the blocks. You can have a slight bend in the knees if that feels more comfortable. Just getting upside down for a couple of minutes, reversing the flow of energy. You can start to slightly fidget, you can bend one knee and then the other, switching the crossings of the arms. You might feel that you have loosened up and warmed up a little bit through the back and the hips. If this is the case, you can remove one of the blocks or bring it to a different level. But if you're comfortable here, please remain. If you kept your blocks in the same position throughout the whole process, you can remove or adjust one of your blocks and just see how warm the back of your legs and your back have become. You might notice that you have a lot more space and you're able to deep forward bend. Move your blocks off to one side, grab opposite elbows again and just hang for a couple of breaths, letting the head hang nice and heavy. Release your hands to the floor and bring yourself down to a seated position. Grab one of your blocks or a pillow and we're going to come into a supported bridge. This is one of my favourite restorative yin style poses. Coming onto your tiptoes, bring the block at the mid-level to your sacrum, so just above your glutes. Rest your hips down, let your hands fall out to the side, keeping your knees and legs parallel to one another. You might like to start thinking about bringing your block to a higher level if you're comfortable here. Just coming back onto your tiptoes and bringing the block to the high level. Otherwise, staying where you are. Sometimes it can feel nice to clasp your hands around the block, giving yourself some extra support. Give your chin a slight lift, stretching out your abdominals. Breathing in for a count of 3 and out for a count of 3. Continuing to practice deep breathing. It can also feel really good here to close the eyes, relax the jaw, and just really appreciate the passive opening through your body. If you're happy here and don't want to change things up, please stay here. Otherwise, one leg at a time, bring the knees towards the torso, balancing your lower back on the block. And we're just going to stay here for a couple of breaths. If you're feeling like you want a little bit more action through your legs, you can straighten both legs up to the ceiling. But really what we're working on here is the surrender and pulling yourself back down towards the ground, keeping the knees bent, stacked over the hips, feet relaxed, face relaxed. And on an exhale, one at a time, bring your feet back down to the floor. Lifting back up onto your tippy toes to move the block out to one side, and very slowly roll down through the spine until your back is flat on the floor. Bring the knees into the chest and slowly roll up to a seated position, rolling out through the head and neck, shoulders, releasing all that good work we've just done. Now grab your pillows or blankets if you have them. We're going to come into a supported forward fold. So bring both legs out in front of you. Pile your props in your lap. So that might be a pillow from your bed, something that will have some loft and some height. We're going to really lean into the yin side of the practice here. So on an inhale, stretch upwards, and on an exhale, roll forward, resting your head onto the pillows. Your back will round here. You can bring your arms around the pillows and just hug them in, comforting towards your chest, determining which side is most comfortable. If you're resting on the right or left side of your face, we're not going for any ground-breaking stretch here, so stick with the side that feels best to you. Let yourself fold forward, relaxing onto those pillows. Your feet are nice and relaxed, holding no tension in your jaw. and start to come back up to a seated position, moving your pillows off of your lap and starting to place them behind you as a layer of padding for our supported butterfly. So grab your 2 blocks as well here, bring the pillows directly behind you, bring your feet together and your knees apart, and gently roll yourself down into a reclined position using your blocks underneath your thighs or your knees, arms out wide. We're going to finish out the practice here, so we're going to have a few minutes in this beautiful restorative pose, opening the hips, the chest, the throat, stretching through the groin and stretching through the abdomen. Feel how heavy your body feels resting down on those pillows and on those blocks, remembering that yoga doesn't always have to be fast movements, that a huge benefit comes from taking these luxurious, slow classes filled with deep breathing, passive stretching, and restorative energy. Stay in this position for as long as you like, or you can transition into your traditional Shavasana. But either way, I would recommend staying for as long as you can in your restorative, restful poses. Thank you so much for joining me again. See you next week.